In this section, we are going to take national values education. That's the subject. Paper one, which we are going to look at specifically, civic education. So we start from question number one, which says, a corrupt-free Nigeria is achievable through, is it E, selfish interest? Of course, that will escalate corruption. Popular participation will not actually address corruption, though it's arguable that indirectly can, but it will not on its own address corruption. Economic prosperity, of course, it is not a means to stop corruption. Collapse of social values, of course, this one will escalate corruption more. But if you look at A, which says adherence to due process of doing things, due process of utilizing any money, any fund in the public sector, due process on how to spend public money. If we have all these processes, of course, there won't be corruption. So adhering to the due process, that is how things should be done. Of course, we go a long way in stopping corruption in Nigeria. Now, the next question, which is question number 2, says, the process of choosing a candidate within a political party to be its flag bearer is dash election. The question tests your knowledge on what we call types of elections. Now, let's look at the options. We have by-election. Option A, by-election. By-election is an election held to fill a vacant seat in the legislature or in the parliament at the death or resignation of a parliamentarian. So B is not A is not the answer. Now, general election, which is election, a type of election where all the parts of the country are in for election at the same time. Like example, a presidential election is a general election. The elections that happen, governorship elections, happening at the same time in all the parts of the country is a general election. So it is not a general election. Option C is indirect election. Remember, an indirect election is an election where people elect a group of people called the Electoral College to elect or vote on their behalf. That is indirect election. So it's not the process of choosing candidates for political parties. Look at D, E. Let me skip D. Look at E, rerun election. A rerun election is an election held when court of competent jurisdiction declares an election null and void, and to that point should be rerun. So, is a rerun election? It's not the answer. Look at option D, which says primary election. A primary election is an election held within a political party for the emergence of the party flag bearer or candidate. Of course, this makes option D correct one. Number 3 question says, the coming together of people to assist one another. Is it A, agreement? Agreement is not actually coming together, they're working together. Is it amalgamation? That's putting things together, putting a group together, putting groups together. Is it cooperation? Of course, C is the correct answer. Cooperation is working together to achieve a common goal. But it's not independence, that is freedom. It's not integration, that is unification. So rather, it's cooperation, C. Now look at this question. The headquarters of African Union, that's AU, is located in where? Is it Abuja? Abuja is rather the headquarters of ECOWAS, but it is Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. It's where you have the headquarters of African Union. It's also the headquarters of defunct OAU, Organization of African Unity. So it's not Burkina Faso, it's not Sierra, it's not Dakar. The next question, question number 5. Which of the following embodies the roots of a nation? where you have the rules of a nation? Is it E, the pledge? Of course, the pledge is an oath by citizens to pledge allegiance to their country. Is it D, the flag? Of course, the flag is a national symbol. It's not embodiment of rules of a nation. Is it currency, the legal tender for buying and selling for exchange? It's not. Is it A, coat of arms? No, that is the official logo of the country. But rather it is the Constitution. B, Constitution is a body of fundamental rules and regulations by which a country is governed. Now look at number 6 question. Excessive love for money can lead to the following except. Excessive love for money can lead, is it E, prostitution? Of course, it can lead some people to prostitution because they want money, especially when those that have the money is involved. They follow them to get more money. It can lead to human trafficking, of course. Those people that traffic other people, they do it out of the law for money. Is it drug trafficking? People do drug trafficking. People engage in that illicit business because of love for money. It can lead to corruption. Love for money is one of the major reasons people engage in corruption, especially when they're handling public fund. But A, it cannot lead to contentment. Love for money can never lead to contentment. So A is the correct option. Number 7 question says, human trafficking can be prevented through what? How can we prevent human trafficking? Let's start with E, mass immigration. Because mass immigration will not do anything. That is common immigration, people coming into a particular country in mass. So it wouldn't reduce human trafficking. It can be, human trafficking is not actually conflict, so it cannot be prevented through conflict resolution. Communal labor, that's when members of the community work together, work on, on their communities, perform essential services on their communities. It's not a way to prevent human trafficking. Child labor, rather, is part of the human trafficking, so it can prevent human trafficking. But A, which is awareness campaigns, can help to ameliorate, to tame human trafficking. Awareness campaign where people are enlightened about human trafficking, about the causes, about how it takes place, so that we understand it and the implications of human trafficking. So A. Question number 8 says, an individual who exhibits self-control is described as it E, talented? No, that's you're skilled. It has nothing to do with self-control. Self-control does not mean that somebody is perfect, no. Self-control does not mean that the person is knowledgeable, does have the required knowledge, no. Self-control does not mean that somebody is intelligent. Somebody may have self-control but not intelligent. Somebody may be intelligent but lacks self-control. But when somebody exhibits self-control, A, which is the person is disciplined, that is what it means. So discipline is correct answer. The next question, question number 9. Which of the following environmental problems is unfamiliar to Nigeria? A, erosion. Of course, erosion is a problem in many parts of Nigeria. Erosion, the washing away of soil by water especially. So during rainy season, many places suffer erosion. Is it fire? Fire incidents is not new and it's a recurring incident. At times we see it happen in markets, in Lagos, in different parts of country. So fire incident is not unfamiliar in Nigeria. Flood. If you go to waterlogged areas, BECE, they will tell you what flood is. If you go to Port Harcourt, even Anambra State, Kogi State, many parts of Nigeria, they will tell you that suffering. In fact, flooding has displaced many people in Nigeria. Is it pollution? Of course. In fact, we have many sources of pollution in Nigeria. But tornadoes is unfamiliar tonight. Many people in Nigeria don't know what is tornado. Many. But all these things An average Nigerian knows all from A to D, but tornadoes is not unfamiliar in Nigeria. It rarely occurs. Question number 10. The foremost manifestation of value is at the dash level. Remember, values are standards of behavior, standard norms, principles cherished by a society and as important to them. Now, is it the foremost, the first? It's not at economic level, it's not at group level, but it is at individual level. The next stage is societal level. It's not at traditional level. So the foremost, we have manifestation at societal level, but the foremost is at individual level, that's individual values. Question number 11, prohibition on selling of contaminated consumables is monitored by who? Is it Economic and Financial Crimes Commission? By the name, you know that what they monitor is financial crimes, money laundering, embezzlement of public funds, anything that has to do with finance. Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, their own is related to EFCC. Almost the same thing, because they're involved in any corrupt practices, including financial corrupt practices. Is it National Agency for Food and Drug Administration? Of course, it is the mandate of National Drug Law Enforcement, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, that is NAFDAC, to monitor the prohibition on the sale of contaminated consumables. That is why they want to ensure that fake consumables like drugs are not sold to Nigerians. It can be the National Orientation Agency. Its responsibility is about Nigerian unity, giving orientation, giving enlightenment on Nigerian unity. Is this Standard Organization of Nigeria? They monitor standards to make sure all products are of standard, but they don't monitor consumables like NAFDAC. They don't specialize on consumables like NAFDAC. So C, NAFDAC is the answer. The next question, question number 12, says, the right attitude to work is hindered when dash is exhibited. A says diligence. Of course, we need diligence and right attitude to work. It's part of right attitude to work, so it can't hinder it. It's needed. Discipline is needed. That's option B. It can't hinder right attitude to work. Honesty is part of right attitude to work, so it can't hinder it. Negligence, which is a negative value, neglecting your work, neglecting what you should do, will hinder right attitude to work. Punctuality promotes right attitude to work and is part of right attitude to work. So the option C, negligence. Right attitude to work is hindered when negligence is exhibited. Question 13 says, stigmatization and bad reputation is brought upon an individual through, that is, stigmatizing somebody means discriminating against the person, avoiding the person because of the maybe bad reputation the person has actually incurred for himself. So it can be brought upon an individual through, is it A, responsible livelihood? No, it can be brought upon an individual through E, responsible livelihood. It can work. Political opinions can bring stigmatization and bad reputation. That is, opinion the person is on political issues. Mild temperament, of course, a positive value. It cannot bring about stigmatization. We have irresponsible parenthood. Irresponsible parenthood, hostile attitude. Now, irresponsible parenthood may not. It will bring bad reputation to a person. But when somebody has hostile attitude, that's aggressive, always ready to harm people, of course, it will bring about stigmatization and it will give the person bad reputation. Somebody may have a responsible parenthood, but still live very well. So 13A is the answer. Now, the next question, the most effective approach towards eliminating sexually transmitted diseases is how? The most effective. Is it casual intercourse? That's casual sexual intercourse? Of course, we are talking about sexually transmitted diseases. Is it total abstinence? Yes, that is the one. Don't involve yourself, whether protected or not protected. Total abstinence will be the most effective approach to eliminating it. Use of condom is still risky, that's protection. Use of drugs, of course it will not, because some people can still get sexually transmitted diseases, especially when they inject. Then withdrawal from peers is not enough, it's total abstinence. Question number 15. Examination malpractice in schools can be prevented through, is it increasing teachers' pay? We're talking about those writing the exam, the students. So it will go a long way to prevent it. Providing free education, of course, does not guarantee prevention of examination malpractice. Is it reducing cost of school fee? It will not. D, reducing frequent test practice? It will not. Even test practice, increasing it will automatically, of course, boost the confidence of students in writing tests. Then, is it promoting a culture of academic integrity? This is a perfect option. When you promote the culture of academic integrity, of course, that is about making sure that you do the right thing to pass your examinations. Number 16, the agency created for the purpose of promoting national unity is which one? Is it Federal Road Safety Commission? That one is to enforce traffic rules. It's not about national unity. Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, that's option B. That one has to do with financial crime. That has to do with abuse of office through corruption. Is it National Orientation Agency? Yes, this is an agency created for the purpose of promoting national unity through orientation of the citizens. It's not the National Security and Civil Defense Corps. It's one of the security architectures of the country. Is it Public Complaints Commission? That is where people report abuse of office or infringement on their rights by public servants. So C, National Orientation Agency, is the agency created for the purpose of promoting national unity. Number 17, an institution empowered to interpret the law is, of course, this one has to do with arm of government. When you understand the three arms of government, the executive executes laws, the legislature makes laws, the judiciary interprets law, you will know that it is not executive that executes and implements laws, it is rather the judiciary that interprets laws. Legislature makes laws, they don't interpret. The police enforce the laws, is part of the executive. The press enlighten the people, inform the people on government policies and issues that affect the state. So judiciary is the one that interprets all the laws. Which of the following symbols is peculiar to the legislature? That is symbol of authority in legislature. Is it constitution? They use constitution, but it is not peculiar to them. Is it the gavel? They use the gavel. The presiding officer, the Senate president, or the speaker, as the case may be, uses the gavel. But it's not peculiar because even in the law court, the judges, they use the gavel. That thing that looks like hammer. Mace, of course. Mace is the main symbol of authority. It's the main symbol carried by the sergeant at arms. It is placed on a strategic place at the legislative house. Of course, anybody passing through must take a bow before that mace. And if that mace is not there, no proceeding can hold. So it is the mace. It's not a mask. It's not a wig. Wig is rather peculiar to the judiciary. So mace is the right answer. Question number 19. The institution responsible for organizing and conducting elections in Nigeria, that is the Electoral umpire in Nigeria. Is it A, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission? No, that one has to do with crime control. That one has to do with abuse of office, corruption, financial embezzlement. So A is not the answer. National Orientation Agency, that is C, has to do with promoting national unity. Nigeria Television Authority, that is NTA. That one has to do with news, catching news, information to the masses, and it's even a public corporation. Standard Organization of Nigeria ensures that goods produced in Nigeria are up to the right quality, the standard set by Nigeria government. But the answer B, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that is the organization, that is the institution that is responsible for conducting and organizing elections in Nigeria, established by 1999 Constitution in 1998. Question number 20. In Nigeria, the people that are allowed to vote during an election are the, is it E, polling thugs? These ones, they came to destroy things in an election. So they are not those that are voting. Is it polling clerks? These ones take record and correspond proceedings in the polling stations, assist the presiding officer. Is it electoral observers? Observers are not there to vote. Rather, they are there to observe and give reports of what they saw. Is it elected officers? Elected officers, that is after election that you have elected officers. Now, is it accredited electorate? Of course, A. It's not just the electorate that will vote in an election, but the accredited ones. If a person is not accredited during an election, the person cannot vote. So, A is the answer. Number 21, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria allows for separation of, is it duties, is it government, is it powers, is it privileges, is it right? Of course, we talk about powers. It's in government we talk about separation of powers, that division of governmental functions into the three arms of government. Now look at this question. In Nigeria, June 12th is celebrated as Dash Day. Of course, it's not Children's Day, May 27. That's A. It's not Independence Day. That is 1st of October. It's not Veterans Day. It's not Workers' Day. Rather, it is Democracy Day. Before, Democracy Day used to be celebrated on May 29, because that was the day military handed over to civilian government in 1999. But the government of Muhammadu Buhari actually changed it in order to immortalize late Chief MKO Abiola. So he made that June 12th when we had the freest and fairest election that would have elected late Chief MKO Abiola as the president of Nigeria, but for its annulment. So it was in June 12th that freest and fairest election in the history of Nigeria that was annulled. And because of that, the Nigerian government then decided to make it the Democracy Day. So that's B. So in case you see option that says May 27, it is no longer May 27. At what age is a citizen qualified to vote in Nigeria? Of course, it's not 16, it's not 20, it's not 22, it's not 24. Voting age in Nigeria is 18 years. Which of the following acts as primary national security? The primary one. Which of the following acts promotes national security? Is it benevolence? Being generous? Is it being bravery? Of course, it may not promote national security. Is it generosity? May not promote. Is it being hospitable? But effective foreign policies, especially with respect to security threats that may come from outside the state. So effective foreign policies we have to promote national security, and of course it will actually bring about collaboration between countries to promote national security. Then the next question says, deviant behaviors. Deviant behavior is preventable through, I hope when you, is it cover up, juvenile detention, over pampering, praise singing, socialization. Now, when you talk about deviant behavior, the best way to prevent is enlightenment, education. So cover up will not do that, it will promote it. Juvenile detention, that's punishment, of course, will not prevent. Over pampering we promote. Praise singing, of course, we promote. But socialization, that's the process of teaching and learning new behaviors in order to adapt. In socialization, you socialize into the normal values, the proper values of the society. So socialization is the correct option. Now, which of the following is not a national symbol? Question number 26. National anthem is a national symbol. National pledge is a national symbol. The flag is a national symbol. The constitution of a country and Nigerian map, which one? Of course, Nigerian map is not a national symbol. Rather, the constitution. The constitution is not a national symbol. Nigerian map, rather, is a national symbol. So the constitution is the correct answer. Who among the following gave Nigeria her name? Is it Queen Elizabeth? No, it's not Queen Elizabeth II. She was the head of state of Nigeria during the colonial era. Is it Hugh Clifford that amalgamated Nigeria? No. Is it Hugh Clifford that provided the first constitution of 1922? Is it Frederick Lugard that amalgamated Nigeria and served as the first Governor General of Nigeria? Is it Florence Nightingale? It's not Florence. Rather, it's Lady Flora Shaw, who later became the wife of Frederick Lugard. So she's the one that gave Nigeria its name. An act of selfishness can be expressed through, is it selflessness? No. Is it pride? No. Is it humility? No. Is it generosity? No. Selfishness can be expressed rather through greed. Even though pride is a negative value, but greed makes one want to acquire everything for oneself, even at the detriment of others. So selfishness can be promoted through that. Now, an effective attribute of integrity is it A, courage? It's not an attribute, that being bravery. Is it endurance? It's not. Is it harmony, living in peace? Is it patience? No. Rather, attribute of honesty is truthfulness. Remember, integrity has to do with being firm in one's moral principles, which truthfulness and honesty is part of it. Next question number 30 says, which of the following is a civic duty? When you say civic duty, you're referring to duties of citizens, because the word civic means citizens. So is it campaigning for elections? Of course, it's not the responsibility of a citizen to be campaigning. It's those that are contesting that should campaign for themselves, and they are political parties. Does it C, falsification of votes? No, it's not falsification of votes. Of course, that is electoral malpractice. Is it multiple voting? That is malpractice. It's not expected of citizens. Is it vote buying? It is not expected of citizens. Rather, casting ballot, that is voting during an election, is the responsibility of a citizen. That is civic duty. We go to the next one, number 31. Which of the following geopolitical zones in Nigeria has the highest number of states? South-South, E, has 6 states. That is Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers State, Edo State, Delta State, and what do you call it? Delta State, and have I mentioned River State? Of course, Cross River is the Bayelsa. So these are the 6. So it's 6. It's not the highest. Southeast has 5 states. That is Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Abia, Imo. Only that's the what do you call it? The geopolitical zone that has the least number of states. Then, if you talk about the Northwest, has 7 states. That's the one that has the highest number of states. Northeast has only 6 states. North Central has only 6 states. In fact, know the number of states. Southeast has 5 states. Northwest has 7 states, which is the highest. So Southeast is the least, Northwest is the highest. Others have 6 states. So that is it. Now the next question says, paying tax is to duties, as rights is to what? Now, what does paying tax mean to duties? Paying tax is an example of duties expected of citizens. Now, we have to look at which of these options is an example of rights. Discipline is not a right. We don't have right to discipline. We don't have right to due process, which is B. We don't have right to peace. We don't have right to self-control. Rather, we have right to life. The following are obligations of a government to the people, except that's what is expected of government, duties of government. We have arresting criminals. Yes, it is the obligation of the government, and they do it through law enforcement agencies like the police, NAFDAC, NDLEA, etc. Defending the country. Yes, it is the obligation of the government to defend the country, especially against external attacks and aggressions. This is C, protection of lives and property. Of course, it is the obligation of the government to protect lives and property of the state. In fact, it is the first and primary duty of government, the essence of creating government. Number D says provision of social amenities. Of course, the government is expected to provide social amenities like good roads, water, electricity, etc. to make the state comfortable for its citizens. E says regular payment of tax. No, government does not pay tax. Rather, citizens pay taxes to the government so that government will use the fund to carry out its duties. Question 34 says, the quality of being sincere and truthful at all times defines what? Is it contentment? Contentment has to do with being satisfied with what one has. So it's not contentment. Courage has to do with exhibiting bravery in what you're doing. Dedication has to do with commitment. So it's not the answer. Honesty is the quality of being truthful and straightforward and sincere in what one is doing. So that is the humility is not truthfulness. Somebody may be humble but not truthful. Duties are sacrifices. Question number 35. Duties are sacrifices while rights are dash. So duties are sacrifices we make. Rights are A. Is it attitudes? No, rights are not attitudes. B, commitment. Rights are not commitment. That is dedication. C, obligations. Is duties that are obligations. D, opportunities. Not really, looks like, but it's not. But rather, if you look at E, rights are privileges. Privileges and entitlements are key words. Even claims, liberties, that are the key words in defining rights. Privileges, entitlement, claims, liberties, they are the key words in defining rights, not any of this. So it's privileges. E. Question number 36. A child born by Nigerian parents abroad is entitled to Nigerian citizenship by, is it E, registration? Registration takes place mostly under marriage. Mostly under marriage. It's not registration. Is it naturalization? That is for, it is how a foreigner who has lived in a country for a long period of time, Nigeria is 15 years, can apply to become a citizen. Is it marriage? No, it's not marriage, because you're talking about registration when you talk about marriage. Is it conferment? That is citizenship by honorary. Rather, it is birth. Now, Nigeria defines citizenship by birth, by citizenship of one's parents. So if you're born in another country and your parents are Nigerians, you are a Nigerian citizen by birth. So a child born by Nigerian parents becomes a citizen of Nigeria, no matter where the child is born by birth. Question number 37 says, which of the following tasks is not related to civic duties? That's which one is not part of civic duty, what is expected of citizens to carry out? A, participation in environmental sanitation. Of course, we're saying which one is not. So this one is payment of taxes and rates. B, of course it is. D, standing right when singing national anthem. Of course, citizens are expected to stand right. Voting during elections. Citizens are expected to vote during elections. But C, resisting arrest from law enforcement agents. Of course, citizens are not expected to resist arrest because they must be given fair hearing. So, especially from the law enforcement agencies. Now, let's look at the next question, which is number 38. The second tier of government in Nigeria is the worst. Now, we have 3 tiers of government. At the top, we have the federal. Second, we have the local government, the state government. Third, we have the local government. So the second tier is not A, federal government, it's not B, local government, it's not C, senatorial, it's not E, zone, rather it is state. State is the second level of the 3 tiers of government. The next question says, proper administration of justice safeguards the dash of the citizens. When you administer justice, especially we are talking about from the judicial arm of government, it safeguards not authority, not legitimacy. B. Legitimacy, of course, authority has a right to command obedience. Legitimacy is the acceptance and recognition of an authority. It does not safeguard a powers, that is ability to command obedience. It does not safeguard values. Rather, it safeguards liberties, that is the rights. So C is the correct answer. Which of the following may be a reason for denying citizenship by naturalization in Nigeria? Now, if you become a citizen by naturalization in Nigeria, there is a circumstance under which that citizenship can be denied. Now, it is not being of good character. It is not being over 21 years. It is not the having lived in Nigeria for 10 years. It is not a recital of national anthem. Rather, it is compromise of Nigerian security. Right? That is, example, a situation where the person is a spy for another country and want to stay in the country to spy for Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria will deny you that citizenship. Question number 41. The responsibilities of citizens to the state are synonymous to their values, that is standards, norms, and principles. No. Is it standards? No. Responsibilities of citizens are not their privileges. Privileges are rather their rights. Liberties are rather their rights, but rather duties. Duty, responsibilities are duties and obligations of citizens. Which of the following is not a function of the legislature? A. Conferring titles. No, legislature does not confer titles to people. Declaring winners or in an election. Of course, legislatures contest for election. It is the Electoral Commission that declares winners of election. C. Judicial pronouncement, that is judicial ruling in court. Legislature does not rule in court. They even go to court and they can be sued to court. D. Making of law. This is the primary function of the legislature. Remember, to legislate means to make laws. Protecting the rights of the president is not their duty. The minimum age requirement of an alien applying for Nigerian citizenship is, of course, if you read citizenship in Nigeria, they say of full, that is in chapter 3 of 1999 Constitution. They say the person must be of full age. If you go down and continue reading that chapter, you will see that they mention an age. Full age refers to 18 years. So this should be 18. So it's not 20, it's not 21, it's not 25, it's not 28, it's not 19. It is full age for that in Nigeria is 18 years. Citizenship education promotes what? Is it economic dependency? Is it that is to depend economically in another country? No, it is not the answer. Is it ethnic superiority? That is to promote one ethnic group to be superior to other ethnic group? No, citizenship education is not. That's educating citizens about the values, rights, and duties, and what is expected of them as citizens. Is it national integration? Of course, citizenship education promotes national integration. It makes you understand your nation. It makes you to understand your place as citizen, what is expected of you, how you can tolerate other members of your society, whether they are from your tribe or not. This promotes national integration. It does not promote political domination. It does not promote religious intolerance. Rather, it will promote religious tolerance. The federal government of Nigeria is headed by the Dash. Who heads the federal government? Is this ceremonial president? Of course, we no longer practice a parliamentary system of government that was practiced in the First Republic, where we had the ceremonial president only. So we don't have currently a ceremonial president. That's a president that is just a ceremonial president. Is it executive chairman? No. The head of Nigeria is not an executive. It's not called, that office is not called chairman. D, is this president of the Senate? The president of the Senate is a presiding officer. And number one person on the Senate is not the head of the federal government. Is it the prime minister? We don't even have a prime minister in Nigeria. We had it during independence and only the First Republic only. But rather, we call our own executive president. Executive president because we are practicing what we call parliamentary system of government. So that executive president is the head of the federal government of Nigeria. Question 46 says, when the national flag is flown at half-mast, it indicates what? Now, whenever the national flag is flown at half-mast, that is brought down up to half. That is, you have a flag. The flag is supposed to be here, and is brought down, lowered to this point, half-mast. Now, what it symbolizes is mourning. It does not symbolize celebration. It does not symbolize happiness. And if you're talking about celebration and happiness, of course, it will be normal the way it is. Jubilation, it will be normal. It does not change during war. But during national mourning, example, when Chief and what do you call it? The former president of Nigeria, Haji Shehu Shagari, when he died, the government declared that the national flag should be lowered at half-mast. So that is the option that is correct. Then question number 47. An individual found guilty of a crime in the country is A or and dash. If you're found guilty of crime, you are, is it accused? An accused that have not been found guilty is still facing trial of what is being accused. Let's see culprit. Culprit is the person at fault. Of course, if you're found guilty of a crime, you're not a culprit. It's not culprit. Culprit can be at fault both in civil cases. So D, defendant. Of course, if you're accused, you defend yourself. Suspect. When somebody is being accused, the person is still a suspect until found guilty. When found guilty, the person becomes a convict. Ebonyi State is located in which geopolitical zone in Nigeria? Ebonyi State. Of course, it is in southeast. It's an Igbo-speaking state. It's in the southeast. It's not in the north central, not in the northwest. It's not in the south. It's not in the southwest. It's southeast. The head of the lower legislative chamber of Nigerian National Assembly in Nigeria is a dash. Now, which one is the lower legislative chamber? It is the House of Representatives. So, who is the head? Is it Chief Whip? No, it's not Chief Whip. That is the disciplinary officer in a particular party, head disciplinary in a particular party in the House. Is it the clerk of the House that takes proceedings of the House? Not. Is it the majority leader? The majority leader is the leader of the party that has majority seats in the parliament, but he is not the head of that chamber. Is it the president? The president is not. It's in the upper house that the president speaker, the Senate president is the head. It is speaker that is the head of the lower legislative chamber in Nigeria, which is the House of Representatives. Now, this question says, question number 15. The Nigerian coat of arms was adopted in which year? Is it 1957? No. It's in 1960 when Nigeria became independent. It's not during our first republic in 1963. It's not in 1999. It's in 1966. It's not in 1973. Rather, it is 1960. Which of the following is a common juvenile crime? Crime committed mostly by people below 18 years. Is in arms deal. It's not common among them. Dealing on arms like guns. Is it drug trafficking? Is not common among them to sell illicit drugs. Is it human trafficking? It's not common among them to transport and sell human. Is it money laundering? It's rare. It's not common. Rather, it's pickpocketing, that is taking something from somebody's pocket or bag. That kind of stealing is what you can see among the juvenile. Number 52, an activity punishable under the law in Nigeria. Which one can, if you're found guilty, you can be punished for it? Is it suicide? Who will you punish for suicide? The person is dead. You can't punish a dead body. Is it speeding? If it's over speeding, it's different, but this one is speeding. If you're on the highway, you speed, but you don't overspeed. Pornography is not a crime. In Nigeria, it's a personal thing that has to do with one's personal morality, one's morality. Is it drunkenness? Provided you don't harm people when you do that. Provided you stagger on your own, speak rubbish on your own, it does not matter to anybody. Provided you don't affect the rights of other people, do whatever you like when you're drunk. But arson, putting fire on a building, on some or another property, it's a crime punishable in Nigeria. Question number 53, the use of an electronic device to carry out illegal financial activity is dash. Example, using computer to carry out illegal financial activity to defraud people. Blogging is not a crime. People create blogs, in order to pass information in the social media. Blogging is about social media. It's not wirement. It's not wire transfer that is transferring money. It's not YouTubian watching YouTube, using YouTube. Rather, it's what we call cyber fraud. The use of electronic device, especially computer, for illicit financial activity is cyber fraud. Crime rate in Nigeria can be reduced through what? How do we reduce crime rate? Is it a wrong value system? It can increase crime rate, not reduce. Weak judiciary will increase crime rate, not reduce. Nonchalant attitude will not even reduce it. Inadequate employment, of course, it will increase crime rate. But efficient law enforcement, where the law enforcement agencies are well equipped, well prepared, well trained, and effective in discharging their duty. We are talking about efficient law enforcement agencies. It will reduce crime because criminals are most likely to be caught, so it will deter them. Question 55. A crime tackled by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. It's what? Which one is tackled by NAFDAC? Is it banditry and kidnapping? That one is police. Cyber fraud occurrences, that one is police, EFCC, even ICPC. Is it sale of fake substances? Of course, that is the correct option. Sale of fake substances like drugs, creams people rub, whatever people use on their body. Now, is it sale of substandard equipment? That's SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria. Is it vandalization of pipeline? That is civil defense. So it's sale of fake drug that is tackled by NAFDAC. In Nigeria, general elections are conducted every years. It's not every 2 years. It's not every 3 years. It's not every 4 years. It's every 4 years, not every 5, not every 6. That is why the first one in this democratic dispensation or republic from 1999 to 2003, from 2003 to 2007, 2007 to 2011, 2011 to 2015, 2015 to 2019, 19 to 23. And we conducted in 23. So it's 4 years in Nigeria. But that is why our political office holders, the Constitution provide for 4 years. The Chief Security Officer of a state is who? The dash. Is it the Chief of Staff of the Governor? Of course, it's not the Chief of Staff. That's the right-hand man of the Governor, the appointee that was closest with him. Is it the Commissioner of Police? It's not the Chief Security Officer, even though he's in charge of the police and the state. But it's not the Chief Security Officer of the state according to Nigerian Constitution. Is it the Council Chairman, Local Government Chairman? It's at the local government level, not at the state level. Is it Executive Governor? Of course. He is the Chief Security Officer of a state in Nigeria. It is not the President. The President is rather the Chief Security Officer of the nation. But at the state level, the Chief Security Officer is the state governor. Which of the following is the primary duty of the Nigerian police? Primary, the core. Is it defend borders? No. It's immigration and customs. Is it interpret the law? It is the law courts that will interpret the law. Is it issuance of passport? They don't issue passport. It is immigration, Nigerian immigration, that issues passport. Is it prosecuting criminals? They prosecute criminals. It is their duty. But is it the primary duty? The primary duty is protection of lives and property. It is in the course of doing this that they arrest criminals. So, they prosecute criminals. Prosecuting criminals is one of their functions, of course, but it's not their primary. The primary is protecting lives and property. Number 59, the consequence of crime on the nation is that it, A, encourages peaceful coexistence. It does not encourage peaceful coexistence. It does the contrary. It eradicates poverty. It does not eradicate poverty. It leads to development of the nation. It does not lead to development. Leads to loss of lives. It does not lead to loss. It can, of course, crimes can lead to loss of lives. Murder is a crime leading to loss of life. Safeguard of government assets, of course, crimes like vandalization, destroy government assets. Finally, question number 60. The fundamental duty of the Nigerian Army is that A, amend law. No, Nigerian Army cannot amend law. It is the the legislature that amends laws. They don't enforce law in the country. The police can do that, and other enforcement agencies. C, guard against external aggression. This is their primary duty. The armed forces, the Nigerian Army, is established to protect and defend the country against external aggression, or what we call external attack. D, provide information to the government. It provides information to the government. It does not provide information to the government. It's not their duty. Maintenance of law and order. It is the police that does that. So their duty is to guard against external aggression. Thank you for being with me on this section. I wish you good luck out there in your examination.